Every day I write the list of reasons why I still believe they do exist.
Lost and beautiful things.
And even though it's hard to see, the glass is full and not half empty.
Lost and beautiful things.
So light me up like the sun, to cool down with your rain. I never want to close my eyes again, never close my eyes, never close my eyes. I thank you for the air to breathe, the heart to beat, the eyes to see again. And all the things that's been and done, the battles won, the good and bad in everyone. So here I go again, singing by your window, picking up the pieces of what's left to find. To live, to die, to breathe, to sleep, to try to make your life complete. Light me up like the sun, to cool down with your rain. I never want to close my eyes again, never close my eyes. Never close my eyes. Never close my eyes. That is everything I have to say. That is everything I have to say. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide. No one stands alone, we'll stand side by side. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle
Yes, I understand that every life must end. As we sit alone, I know someday we must go. Oh, I'm a lucky man to count on both hands the ones I love. Some folks have just one, yeah, others they've got none. Stay with me, oh, let's just breathe. Say that I want you. Oh, if I didn't, I'm a fool, you see. No one knows this more than me. As I come clean, I wonder every day as I look upon your face. Everything you gave and nothing you would take. Oh no.
Nothing you will take, everything you gave.
Did I say that I need you? Oh, did
Shall we just hang there a moment? Breathing in, breathing out. Here in this moment. Because in fact, the breath infuses our time here in this gathering, which is the Ruach Song Cycle Concert. Welcome, a hearty welcome for however you got here. One horse open sleigh, I don't know what's going on out there right now here in May. Whatever it took for you to get here tonight, welcome. My name is Keith Arnold. I'm the minister of music at Jefferson Unitarian Church in Golden. And on behalf of Jefferson Unitarian Church and all of our musicians up here and out here who will be performing and making music and sharing voice and string and brass tonight, I bid you welcome. Thank you for being in here. This event, this is a concert that reflects on life since March 2020, all of the life lived since then. This event is a concert that raises funds for Second Wind Fund of Colorado. It's an organization that works to prevent teen suicide. A special welcome to those here in the room in Lakewood Church of the Nazarene. Go ahead and give a whoop whoop if you're here in the room. That's right, yes. You made it to this place, and we're so glad you're here. There are some folks online. In just a moment, there are so far 62 people tuning in online. Hey, all. So however you're participating, whether online or here in person, we are all together right here. As folks were tuning in or coming into the room, you may have seen some of the virtual choir videos that each of our choirs created during the time that they could not meet in person. Stand in the Light by Sage Singers, 1,000 Beautiful Things by Voices of Light Chamber Choir, Draw the Circle Wide by One World Singers, Carry Me by the Jefferson Unitarian Church Choir, and Just Breathe by the Quartet of Jefferson Unitarian Church. You get it? Yeah. Just Breathe was the song that the quartet sang. Just breathe. That breath is the theme of tonight's concert. Tonight, we'll sing about real things, the past and the present. We sing about hope. We offer a prayer for Ukraine. We proclaim that Black lives matter. We donate funds as a sign of giving hope to those who could use help. Later in the concert, we'll sing a requiem for those who have died of COVID. If you are here in the building, you may have been given a tiny electronic tea candle that you'll be invited to light during that time. If you did not pick one up on the way in, there's plenty in the back and you can get one at any time if you wish. At home, if you're watching, you may wish to get a candle. You might wish that for a little later in tonight's concert. You know, this concert was originally scheduled for January 20th, 2022. Remember January 20th? In January, the Omicron wave. So we decided to cancel the concert or postpone it at that time. And here we are. Here we are. Yes. And still we do not know what the future brings. Another wave coming on? More war? What a time we are living in. Music and art have a way to hold the spirit, to spark the creative response, to give an outlet and meaning and transcendence. Those virtual choir videos you saw before, have you ever sung in one or made one? Around here? Have you sung in one or made a virtual? Yeah, it's painful. It's practically impossible. Is that right for those of you who did that? Yeah. It is so hard. Yet, choirs everywhere around the world created virtual choir videos. They are our record, our ledger of overcoming limitations and barriers to create music together. And this concert, these people, these singers, all of the audiences here and online, even during a May blizzard. For all of us, we have the opportunity, the invitation to be here in this moment, loving one another, grateful for the music. May this song be a healing balm for all to hear. May this experience show that hope lingers on.
When
invite you to go back to that last note, to take a few breaths with me, to feel that prayer, to be in the hope that was sung just before that. It is easier to be angry. It is easier to be frustrated with what's going on in our country and in our world. And these songs invite us to breathe, to pray, and to be hopeful. The prayer for Ukraine asks that Ukraine be given the light of freedom and shown the way of goodness. And I dare say that is shared hope, isn't it? For Ukraine, for our own country, for our world, for ourselves, for each other. And so it is good that we are together this evening to hope, to pray, to sing for the light of freedom and the way of goodness to take up residence in our hearts, so that we might bring it to the world. So I welcome you to the Ruach Song Cycle, a benefit concert for Second Wind Fund of Colorado. My name is Wendy Williams. It is my honor, my privilege to have Keith Arnold as, where did you go?
Over here.
Gosh, he's a slippery little devil. To have Keith Arnold as a colleague and to serve as the senior minister of Jefferson Unitarian Church. So whether you are in this room, we had to cancel the January 20th concert, apparently because the weather wasn't poor enough. We had to wait for May. So thank you for braving it this evening. And if you are at home watching via live stream, or you are stuck somewhere, thank you for being with us online. Ruach is the Hebrew word for breath, for spirit. In most of Western civilization's origin story, it is that which animated the clay that became our first ancestors. Ruach, spirit, breath, 22,000 times. 22,000 times each day, our breath comes in and out, mostly without our notice. And when we pay attention to our breath, we can, with practice, return to that centered and loving place gifted to us by our birth. We become less self-absorbed. We understand anew that we are connected to each other. We are united by breath. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. Not I do, I will. It's aspirational, friends. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Again, aspiring to breathe out love, to put more love into the world. Too often we forget this. We let differences, real and imagined, erase our deep knowing that we are connected and that we need one another. This is why we say that we are a church with a spiritual center and a civic circumference, because we are connected always, always, always by breath, by spirit. One of us impacts all of us. When we hear, as we have been hearing since 2014, individuals say, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. There's a little catch in us too. White poet Gregory Orr wrote an untitled poem. He said, this is what is bequeathed us. This earth, the beloved left, and leaving left to us no other world but this one, willows and the river and the factory with its black smokestacks, no other shore, only this bank on which we living gather. No meaning but what we find here, no purpose but what we make, that and the beloved's clear instructions. Turn me into song, sing me awake. Turn me into song, sing me awake. That is what we are doing this evening. Return us to our breath, to our shared song. Help us beyond our suspicion and mistrust. Return us to caring, to knowing we are not, nor have we ever been, for ourselves alone. Hold us through the fear, through the doubt that fear brings. Breathe in us and through us and with us. Remind us that breath, Ruach, Spirit, unites us. So may it be.
Mass protests here in the United States have sparked a global movement against racial discrimination. In countries from Brazil to South Korea, thousands gathered in their city streets to make their voices heard. Roxana Saberi reports.
It's been a rainy day here in London, but still thousands of people have been marching to show solidarity with the demonstrations in the United States. Many are also calling for an end to racism in this country. The death of George Floyd has sparked similar scenes across Europe and beyond. In Australia, organizers say tens of thousands of protesters gathered, some highlighting what they say is the mistreatment of the country's indigenous population. In Brazil, demonstrators carried banners reading Black Lives Matter. They protested against the killing of hundreds of black people, mainly in the favelas of Rio de Janeiro. And in South Korea, protesters marched through the capital for the second day in a row. Several carried signs reading, "George Floyd, rest in peace." Like elsewhere in the world, authorities here in the United Kingdom have warned that gatherings like this could lead to the spread of COVID-19. But many protesters here tell us they'll take that risk to make their voices heard. Another protest is planned outside the U.S. Embassy here in London tomorrow. Roxana Saberi, CBS News, London.
Await me. Await me.
Oh,
A black neck. A fatal white knee.
no one stepped in. 8 minutes, 47 seconds. Beautiful lives snuffed out by the night. Again
Again,
and again and again.
and again.
The fires burn, the windows broken. The people gathered and they cried. Black lives matter. Black lives Power and fear
Unholy entwined.
through to the breath.
Take a life.
A
Released report. He's calling youth suicide in Colorado a public health crisis.
A recent study found that teen suicide jumped 56% from 2007 to 2017.
There's so much going on in your life. It's non-stop pressure, drama.
They feel like they don't have a voice. They don't have any kind of control of their circumstances or their environment. They feel helpless and hopeless.
They're feeling a lot of pressure from school, they're feeling a lot of pressure at home, and a lot of them just can't take it anymore. So they think about suicide.
I know so far in my 18 years of living, 3 people that have taken their own life, and I'm only 18.
I feel really big things and I don't feel like I have any solutions and I don't know how to talk about what I'm feeling.
There's always bullying and there's substance use. There's just so much facing kids today. But I think the biggest thing is that they just really can't turn it off.
Do I deserve to live if I'm this horrible, if I'm this stupid, if I'm this ugly, if no one likes me?
And I got a telephone call that I didn't recognize, and I picked it up. And the caller on the other end said, this is Dr. So-and-so.
She had cuts on the side of her thigh.
We have your daughter Michelle here. She's taken too many pills, and we need you to come to the emergency room.
They're feeling so numb that they want to cut themselves. It's usually a wrist or an arm, sometimes it's a hip.
And then I got a text out of the blue one day. I'm gonna kill myself.
What more could I have done? What more should I have been doing? What signs were there that I missed that maybe I should have caught?
The majority is probably middle school students right now, but then I started seeing elementary school students.
I've had parents in this office who've lost son or daughters, and it's tragic when I have to have that conversation with them.
Yeah, everybody's impacted, even if they don't know the student that died. People are impacted. You feel it for a long time.
Everyone who is around them sees these changes, these problems they're going through, and it's really hard to know what to do, how to help.
Suicide is the leading cause of death for youth in Colorado, and there's something we can do about it.
Second Wind Fund is a nonprofit organization who is set up to lessen the financial and social barriers for youth who are looking for mental health treatment, specifically youth who are struggling with suicidal thoughts.
The beauty of Second Wind Fund is all it takes is a simple phone call.
And the school counselor called me, and we talked about what was going on. And I told her that I really didn't know what else to do. I probably mentioned, some terribly formulated ideas that I had just to come up with something. And the counselor told me about the Second Wind Fund.
And we know that suicide is preventable. If we can get a youth into treatment, get them to complete all 12 sessions, we know that suicidal ideations will reduce.
If they really want counseling and there are barriers financially and the student is, really in a bad way, mentally having issues, struggling with suicide, Second Wind will help that family.
Why would you not take her there if it means her life?
I think the best that we can hope for is to give our children an opportunity to grow and to shine and become amazing adults.
We would lose lives if we didn't have places like Second Wind Fund helping kids.
If Second Wind Fund didn't exist, then there would be countless youth across the state who never knew that their life mattered.
I don't know how to articulate how terrifying that is as a parent to think that my child never even got into the game.
Well, Second Wind is unique in its ability to reach students through the schools and other ways through parents that there's no other organization like it out there that I'm aware of.
And that's why Second Wind Fund is so amazing, because not only do they take away the financial barrier, but when I connect the student With the services through Second Wind Fund, the therapist sees them within a week.
Because of the Second Wind Fund, my daughter is still here. How do you quantify that?
We are here to make lasting change in the communities that we are existing and working in.
And the remarkable thing about Second Wind Fund is it only takes $1,000 to save a life.
The difference that it has made in my life really cannot be overstated.
Second Wind would be this lifesaver to so many people, and it would literally save lives and help people understand that whatever they're going through, it's okay, because they have someone committed to helping them.
How to quantify it. How to quantify it that we expect at least that our teens will have their 22,000 breaths every day. But we know it's the leading cause of death for teens in this state. We know that between 2007 and 2020, suicide rates in teens doubled. And we have an organization here in Colorado that we so want to support, to keep teens breathing, to keep giving them the possibility that they will remember, that they will be affirmed, that they will find people who can tell them, you're enough. You're enough. You're loved and lovable. Please stay with us. Please support this worthy cause with your donations. If you choose to make a check, please make it payable to Jefferson Unitarian Church. I know those of you who go to that church often call it JUC. If you'll spell it out on the line, that's appreciated by our bank. If you care to leave a cash donation, that's lovely. And if you care to pay by electronically, there is a QR code just on the inside cover of your order of service. I want to call it your program. That's what it is, but I'm a minister, forgive me. In this month of mental health awareness, please do give as generously as you can.
And for those of you in the room, those baskets will be available on your way out.
I didn't know you were going to tune so quickly. I'm here to give a little background of the Ruach song cycle. So the inception of the Ruach song cycle began one morning at breakfast in Raleigh, North Carolina. Keith and I were with a friend, Helen, his college friend. And Keith was wondering what to sing with his choirs, who, after an 18-month hiatus, were about to have their first in-person gathering in the fall of 2021. I suggested that we write something new that would address what we'd all been through the last couple of years. I talked about a theme of the breath. There was a black man saying, "I can't breathe," dying in the street. There was also this inability to breathe around the world, to breathe the air between us because of the pandemic. I mentioned that there's a word, Ruach, in Hebrew, and I said, it means the breath, the spirit, the animating life force. And it's as if we have been through a dark night during which the spirit, the Ruach, withdrew from us, but now it's starting to return. And then there was the second breakfast on my front porch. It's one of my favorite places where the light filters through the trumpet vines, the sunflowers, and a peach tree. I started singing songs over my morning coffee, and Keith went to grab a tape recorder to record them. And the songs that I sang that morning on my front porch became the Ruach song cycle. One of the songs about Black Lives Matter, which you just heard, did turn into a standalone piece rather than a piece that was part of the cycle. Keith took my words and melodies and expanded them for SAT choir and instruments. How cool is that? And he created the music that you are hearing tonight. That first song in the cycle begins with a plea or an invocation for the Ruach, for the breath of life to return to our world, to awaken. So many have longed and are longing for the breath of life. The grandmothers in the hospital gasped for air. The young people in the hospital long to live, long for the Ruach. The black man in the street longs for the breath, saying, I can't breathe, Mama, I can't breathe. And then the second half of that first song brings in some imagery of the butterfly, the mariposa. Individually and as a society, we yearn to be free, to transform, to sing, to dance upon the wind, to leave a cocoon of limitation, to be birthed into a new world. And part of the words from this first song borrow from the oft-quoted words of activists, or part of the imagery of this first song, rather, and the words of the next song, borrow from the oft-quoted words of activist Valerie Kerr, who in 2017, following an attack on people of color, on members of her own Sikh community, said, "Perhaps this darkness is not the darkness of the tomb, but the darkness of the womb."
Into a box.
Yes, thank you. And the next piece that you will be hearing is Into a Box. A lot of the choir experience, and not just the choir, but everybody's experience these past couple of years was in a box on Zoom about seeing people flat, living in flatland on a screen, unable to breathe each other's air, unable to make that spiritual connection completely, or a physical connection, because we aren't in the same room. We couldn't sing Happy Birthday because of the audio delay. I sat in my little bizarre Zoom room and I had fear and anxiety. The computer screen time drained me. But there was some comfort in seeing each other. The choir learned to do rehearsals on Zoom. I was leading a church choir on Zoom, doing rehearsals, as was Keith. Everybody was Zooming. And this particular piece is like a musical theater parody of that experience on Zoom.
Somewhere
filled with fear and numb with grief, I huddled in my room.
I left the room and sang outside among the trees. We left the Zoom and gathered in a vented room. We left the Zoom and gathered here to sing. The Zoom and gathered here to sing. The Zoom and gathered here to sing.
Millions of people died, and they are still dying. This setting of the traditional Mass, this requiem, which so many musicians have set to music over the centuries, is a blessing for the dead. We sing, to translate the Latin, "Grant them eternal rest, and may perpetual light shine upon them." This is the time to take the candle you were given, and if you are watching this online, you can go get a candle as well. If you have lost someone, you can bring them to mind at this time and shine the light of your soul to that soul who has passed. as these sage singers come up to the take their places. I'll tell you a little bit about the last song in the Ruach song cycle. This was the first song that I wrote, I believe, on the front porch at breakfast. I sang, "Let our hearts return to song, celebrate the new dawn. We are here in this moment, together once again." I was thinking about the return of choirs and the return of groups of people everywhere, families, communities, and that we could take a breath together, that we might hear each other's voices, see each other, maybe even hug one another again. So here we are, breathing as one being, together singing. Though the night has not ceased and the war goes on, our song is a balm for us and for all to hear.
Amen.